Good morning. It's the 2nd of January 2026, and I think it's still okay to say Happy New Year to everyone. Also to everyone who didn't watch the video yesterday. Today, I kind of want to talk about something that I mentioned yesterday. Yesterday, I actually not deleted, but I unlocked. I logged out. I logged out of Instagram, so kind of preventing me from going into Instagram, doom scrolling and stuff like that. I actually also reactivated my very old Kindle, so I could potentially start reading again. Maybe let's go over the reasoning why I kind of logged out of Instagram. Actually, I wanted to deinstall it, but I sometimes still need to post stuff or want to post stuff, but I want to prevent myself from going into Instagram on my phone, creating like a barrier of entry to not get into Instagram. And I also still use Instagram for direct messaging with everyone here on YouTube. So if you want to contact me, you can always contact me via the comment section or Instagram. But now I only access it via the computer, which is not always on, so sometimes it takes a little bit, or it will now take a little bit longer before I can reply to a DM on Instagram. So the reason being why I want to get away from Instagram is twofold. First and foremost, I obviously want to stop doom scrolling, and it is mainly because not only isn't there any content that is actually beneficial to my life. It's obviously more of entertainment. But now with the rise of AI content, I did notice that because AI content has gotten so much better in quality, I still can kind of determine, okay, that is AI content. But it takes much more of my mental capacity to actually evaluate if that is AI content now. So I did notice that whenever I saw something that I liked watching, that my brain switched basically into high gear mode and I'm over exaggerating now a little bit to just kind of get to my point is my brain switched into high gear mode and was at full load, and I wasn't only enjoying the content, to be fair, most of the time when I'm doom scrolling, I don't enjoy it anyways, but I don't really consume it, but also my brain is like, okay, you know, that meme with all of the numbers and stuff like that. My brain was like that, is this actually AI? And I noticed that being on Instagram for me was even more taxing. It wasn't only that I was just purely passively doom scrolling, but also my brain was always kind of working, and that was a little bit exhausting. So that's the first reason. The second reason, and that is something that really not only annoyed me but also made me a little bit sad. So I have this friend who it's not a friend, it's actually another freelancer colleague, also a film editor, and she also does a lot of, what it's called, she takes care of street dogs. I've totally forgot what the English word is. She takes care of street dogs, and she posted in her story this video with the caption something along the lines of faith in humanity restored. And it was this video about where there are a couple of people sitting in a room, and supposedly a dog was entered in the room which was living in the shelter, and that dog was allowed to pick an owner by just going around the circle and looking who would be the perfect owner for that dog. But that video was AI. If you were looking for it, you can notice that it's AI, but for some people it's And in this case, that person, she didn't realize it was AI. And she was so, it felt like reading between the lines that she was really happy that something like that potentially exists, but it was AI. And I didn't want to shatter that person's perspective, because nowadays we have so many negative things around us, and we are, especially as I've said, after 2025, especially also with all of the freelancers in my surrounding, our perspective of the world at the moment is very negative, especially also here in Europe, with the wars going on and economy being that bad. And I didn't have the heart to kind of shatter that person's very rare positive moment that she thought, okay, this is my faith in something positive has been restored. I didn't have the heart to tell her that's AI, that's not real. Same thing goes with my parents. They don't sometimes know that something is AI. And for example, my mom and I, we have not that many connection points sometimes, and sometimes she sends me something and she's so like, oh, look what I found, that's so cool. And I don't have the heart to tell her that's AI. I should, to kind of prepare her for something. I do prepare her that, and I tell her that stuff, there is AI and she needs to be careful. But in that case, I don't have the heart to tell her, oh, that's stupid, that's AI, that dog cannot do that, that's AI. So because she was so happy to send me something and she thought that that's so cool, and Bo likes dogs and I want to send him something, and I just don't have the heart to tell her then that it is fake. So those kind of things kind of made me dislike in particularly Instagram, because it is so easy to kind of consume that short pieces of content where you, as I said, your brain is going into, or at least my brain is going into high gear and kind of trying to figure out, is this AI or not, or is this real? So I logged out of Instagram, so I cannot access Instagram easily. And as I've said yesterday, I'm a huge fan of replacing something with another, so that I don't get tempted to just log in, or I don't get tempted to grab my phone. As I said yesterday, I have the retro gaming device. So instead of going into Instagram or YouTube, I take out my gaming device. And now I also want to add my Kindle to the equation, to have something, okay, I have nothing to do on my phone, literally, at the moment. Okay, I can go to YouTube, but sometimes I'm sitting at a coffee table or sitting next to my wife, and I don't want to bother her with sounds either coming from my earbuds potentially, or from gaming on the buttons. So I thought, why not try out Kindle and try reading again? I'm a huge fan of audiobooks, but I also kind of saw in this one YouTube video that there are huge benefits of reading, not necessarily in terms of gathering information, but also in terms of your, I probably totally butcher what that person was saying. The act of kind of figuring out words on a piece of paper, or in this case Kindle, does something to your brain, but I forgot what it was. But that doesn't matter. It's just like, I want to do something different than just passively consuming stuff on my phone. And reading is hopefully a little bit better for my brain. Anyways, I just want to get a little bit away from this piece of technology that I love so much, because as I mentioned a lot of times, either it's doom scrolling or it's being always available with notifications. As a freelancer, you work 24/7 basically. You always have to kind of watch out for your notifications, be it Teams, email, WhatsApp, phone. Always be available for the next project, for the next job. And yeah, that is basically the reason why I want to kind of reduce the items slash apps on my phone that potentially could get me back on something that is not needed. So replacing it with stuff like a gaming device, or in this case a Kindle, hopefully helps me a little bit to get away from that. And I have been able to kind of stay away from Instagram for a couple of weeks now, but I still caught myself getting onto Instagram and scrolling. Mind you, a little bit less than before, but still I do it sometimes, and every time I do it, I'm in a worse mood than before. So now logging out, not having that easy access to Instagram, hopefully gets me on a different path now, and exchanging it with two different things, retro gaming and a Kindle, hopefully brings me into a different headspace. And yeah, that is my plan for the next few weeks, and I will keep you updated how it works out, because I haven't read in a very long time, to be quite frank, and I'm looking forward to see if I can get back into the habit. When I was younger, I have been reading a lot, and I only read what is fun to me. That is also something that is really important, just like working out. It is so difficult to get into a working out habit if you want to start right away, like running. And I'm a huge advocate of starting small, like 10 push-ups per day, but building a habit and then building up on it. And it's the same thing what I want to do with reading. I don't want to read like self-improvement books or scientific books or something where I can learn something, because I know myself, I would get bored and then I would put this away. I will only read stuff that I enjoy, which is fantasy, science fiction, comedy. So just fictional books, nothing non-fictional. Because, as I said, I want to get into a habit, and I can only do that if I read something that I enjoy. So that is my goal now, and let's see if I can do that. Maybe I will reread again for the 20th time Harry Potter. Not sure yet. I have found a different book that I'm checking out at the moment, and let's see how that will work out. So if you want to see my video from yesterday where I told you how I want to deal with gear acquisition syndrome in the future, check out the video up here. YouTube thinks that you like the video down here, and don't forget to subscribe so we see each other tomorrow in the next video by clicking the button up here. All right, see you then. Bye.